Hello viewers, you're welcome to yet another edition of your favorite show, Shantia's Haven. How are you doing? I hope we have been watching the videos and learning one or two things concerning parenting. Like I said some time back, parenting is not something that you have a certificate for and say you've achieved already. We are all learning from one another. So today we have another wonderful parent with us in the studio, and we are going to learn something very, very important. We have Mr. Buri Donald. Hello, Mr. Buri.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
We're very happy to have you today on Chance's Haven. And the topic is so wonderful. I'm very excited about this topic because I also want to learn from it. I get a lot of questions, even from our viewers, about this aspect of the home, about distant parenting. We realize that nobody gets married with the intention of living apart. But reality sets in. People want to go for greener pastures, people go for work or other reasons, so it keeps the family apart. Sometimes the children are either torn apart to live with both parents, or the children have to live away from their parents or live with one parent and others. And I want to tap from your knowledge, your rich knowledge and your experience about this distant parenting. How do me, a parent who is living away from my children, bridge this gap? Because I have some parents who say, I come back, I don't recognize my children. Or some parents are worried whether those things they want to put into the lives of their children, that modeling, they don't know how to bridge that gap. So how do you think they can bridge the gap as parents?
Wow, thank you so much. I'm glad to be your guest today. You're most welcome. I'm happy to be part of this show. Let me start by saying that you put it well, that no one plans to go on this kind of an experience. And the way you're saying it, you want to tap from your experience and knowledge. Someone would think I went to school to learn how to stay apart from my children, but that's not the case. Actually, it comes without you planning for it. And let me say that it is really a challenge when you're out there or your wife is somewhere else and your kids are all by themselves and you're alone with your children. It is really a challenge, and there is really nothing you can say is advantageous when it comes to distant parenting. And that is why it comes because of situations and circumstances that we did not bargain for. I will start by saying that on the part of the children, it is very challenging. Because sometimes my son, for example, he wants to be an engineer, he talks about it, he has some things he has done on paper, he wants to show the dad, and then he's trying to use his phone to snap it, to send to you, you can't really explain, you can't be there for him. All you can do is talk over phone, you do video calls, but that is not enough. That notwithstanding, the frequent calling, that's the first bridge. Frequent calling, you do video calls, you do conventional calls, you make sure you hear from them, you make sure you talk to them, and then
when you say frequent calling, like how often should we call?
If it is possible, on a daily basis.
Daily basis.
I would advise parents, I know when you're out there, unlike being a career, the work sometimes is so demanding that you don't have that time. But you need to consciously create time for it. If you can call your kids in the morning before they go to school, and you call them back after school to know what they went through in class, what the lessons they went through, how you can assist them, it is much better. But at least if you can't do that twice daily, you should do once. Once you skip a day, to be honest with you, you can skip the child's destiny.
Wow. So once you skip a day without talking to your children, especially if you don't live with them, Mr. Buri says you can skip the child's destiny. That's a huge one there. So when you say skip the child's destiny, what do you mean?
When your child comes back from school, when they wake up from bed, they want to go to school. They want to hear their dad. When I was with my parents in the village, once you get up from bed, the first bus stop is your father's home. You want to see your dad, you want to see your mom, you want to hear something from them, you want them to speak to you. Now, once they get up from bed in the morning and there's no one they can talk to, there's no parent, there's no mom, there's no dad. If there's a mom, they want to hear a father figure. If it is absent, of course they go to school, they can manage that. When they come back, they're exhausted. They need someone to pat their backs, to tell them some nice words. How was school today? What did the teacher tell you? What did you learn? How are you doing? Okay. Now, if you are not there for them again, that sounds unfair. It means the child has gone through school. He woke up in the morning, went to school, came back. There was no parent to listen to that child. There was no parent to talk to that child. So, a day is considered, a huge distance. Wow. If there's no voice to minister to that child's spirit, that I'm saying, likely you've skipped something that is very pertinent in that child's life.
The child's life. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. So the first one is frequent call, at least once a day.
Yeah.
Yes. So besides frequent call, what else can the parents do to bridge this gap?
Well, that is what is really bringing you in contact with the children. As in your voice, they hear your voice, they see your face. Thank God for social media. Yeah, we have WhatsApp. In those days, it was only conventional call. Now, that's a major tool that we use to bridge the gap. Now, what you can do is you write letters. I used to write to my daughter because she could read at the time. I was out, even my son now can read. I will drop a letter to them through their mom by email. So she prints the letter, give it to them, they read, and then they will reply. Wow. That's some form of bonding with them. Yeah, even though it's not strong enough, but that's it. Now they can keep a file of those letters. Yes. So the day you're not there for them, they can at least know that they wrote to me and they said something. And I want to say that when you are writing a letter to your daughter, please don't do it. Don't be casual. Let me put it this way. Just assume you're writing to your girlfriend or to your wife. Especially if the child is a girl. Make sure you look how it works. Don't just say, how are you doing? How was school today? No. Let her know she's beautiful, you love her, she's good, you like the way she's doing at the school. Just look how it works, because my daughter reads a lot and she's able to store words. So if you're too casual, it doesn't speak much. Make sure you give her a good letter that she will take a good time to go through, and as she's going through the letter, there's a bonding between you.
I think in my next life I'd like to be your daughter. Because your daughter is spoiled.
I am a mother of 4. It's over 5 years. My husband has been working away from home. Now, the key challenge when it comes to parenting from afar is the issue of bonding. That lack of physical presence, it makes it a bit difficult to bond. Generally, children are such that they're always excited when they have their parents with them and doing things for them, being involved with whatsoever thing they are doing. So, in my children's case, they're always very excited when their daddy takes them to school, picks them up from school. When they have to play together, they want to climb on daddy's back and daddy to do a horse ride for them. They're always very excited with stuff like that. So with him being afar, that bond that they create, it becomes a bit difficult creating that kind of bond. But now, one solution we got, we're trying to create this bond, strengthen the bond between the daddy who is not around and the children, is the issue of communication. I think communication here is the key when it comes to bonding and parenting from afar. Now, by the grace of God, technology have increased in such a way that we don't only get to do audio calls, but we can as well do video calls. Now, my children will always tell me, "Mommy, call daddy." And when I want to call, they're always like, "Mommy, no, please do a video call. We want to see daddy." And when we do a video call, they always ask, "Daddy, what are you doing? How was work at the office? What were you doing today? Daddy, this is what happened in school. This person did this one did that." And this is how I did my work. Sometimes they even get to show their work, the work done in school, to their daddy. And with the videos, the father can praise them for a job well done. He can actually reprimand them or correct them when they are wrong. And he can look at them and they'll look at him and they communicate. Now, the issue is this video calls, it brings this parent who is afar closer to the children who are not with their daddy. So it brings it closer. So I want to think that, or I believe strongly that with the improvement in technology and with strong communication, bonding when it comes to distant parenting can actually be a reality.
Okay, Mr. Buri, you've talked to us about parenting from a distance and bridging the gap and all of that. Now, this parent who lives with those children and the parent is going through all of these phases, stress up and down with the children, but yet she has to, or he has to make sure that he bridges the gap with the other parent who is not living with those children. How does this parent bridge that gap with the other person?
Wow, quite interesting. I would like to borrow from my wife because, on the other hand, she has been with the kids more often than I, and she's done quite well. I want to say that the first thing is you let your children know that the other parent is not. It is not his decision to stay out. There is something that has kept him off the children, and you try to make up for him or her. You have sense in the sense that the best way to do this is you talk. You can call using your phone and you discuss with your spouse and let the children talk to him. Yeah, and it becomes challenging when everything is coming on that parents. You know, the kids are out of school fees because they're only seeing their mom or dad, and that's the first talk. So what you do, number one is don't discuss problems to your partner when the kids are there.
Okay.
Don't let the child know he or she is too heady. This is your daughter is giving me trouble. This is your son is not doing this when the child is there. No. Whenever the children are there, let them know everything is okay. But when they are away, you can now discuss, problems, challenges with each of them, and you really need to let them know that their mom or dad is out for a purpose. And number two, engage them to assist you.
How do you engage them to assist you?
That's a very good question. Now, for example, I take my kids. By God's grace, we have 4 kids. We have 2 big girls, a little girl and a little boy. What my wife does is, I and her, we delegate the big girls, for example, to attend to some things that I should do or my wife should do. Like going to the school, to check out the books. If it's a PTA meeting and my wife is not there, she will send the bigger girl to go attend and bring her the feedback. Yeah, you see, you engage them. And that's how you also grow them into responsibility. Yeah, because if you don't do that, the work chokes a lot of you, and then you can suffocate. You can develop stress. So you let even the younger ones, that if mama is alone, mama is busy, let her arrange her bed, let's wash her clothes, let's take good care of her, and if they are big enough, like the big girls, we get the mobile phones. I also talk to them, we discuss. Sometimes my wife is in a meeting in her office and she's so stressed, and then we try to handle the household in her absence. So you bring them up to assist you. Yeah.
Wow. You bring them up to assist you.
Exactly.
You don't talk about problems you're facing with them in their presence to your other partner or your spouse. These are wonderful wisdom things that I'm getting here today, Mr. Buri. Thank you so much. Hello parents, hello guardians. The struggle is real. Parenting is not something that it's not for the faint-hearted. It's for the strong. And we want to say kudos to you because you've been doing well so far. Even to you who could still stay apart and manage it to this point, you're doing a great job. Just tap into some of these tips that is adding to what you've already started doing so that you make it wonderful. And please, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, you could drop it in the comments section so that we can attend to whatever you are. That's what we do at Shantia's Haven. Okay, Mr. Buri. Who is Mr. Buri? We would like to know who we are talking to here today.
Wow. All right, introduction. Like you have rightly said, I'm Donald Buri. I'm in the health sector. I'm a lab specialist. I'm a PhD candidate, and I have an interest in reproductive health, family health, Yeah, that is who I am. When I work, my last job I worked in Rwanda. I just ended 2 months ago, and I'm back to Cameroon, where I'm still doing my PhD. So I'm trying to settle in Cameroon and trusting God for something doing. And also, ministerially, what do I say? I function as a pastor, but I don't like to carry that title. I function as a pastor.
So we don't say Pastor
Yeah,
Buri. We just leave it at Mr. Buri.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. You just said something that you came back home.
Yeah.
Here, I guess, with this distant parenting, don't you think there should be a time when the parents say, we will come back together? Because sometimes it looks like there's no time. It doesn't look like there's any time that they have put. I heard someone say something that they should have some time frame that at this time we will come back together. What do you think?
Definitely, I would advise that every parent, if you are apart, please, there should be a time frame.
Okay.
Why am I saying so? I know it's challenging because you may want to go out there and look for money, but what is the essence if you get money and lose your kids or lose your family? It is very costly to leave your job and come and sit with your kids like I'm doing now, but it pays a lot. I think it's more costly. It is costly losing your children and your family. So what I want to say is that if the mother or dad is out, it should be for a particular purpose, and once that is achieved, let that person come back. I know it's hard to come back home.
Thank you so
But
much.
it's very important to
come back home.
Yeah.
So if you are a parent and you are out there away from your children, we understand that you went there for greener pastures or you went there for a particular purpose. But why don't you put it at the back of your mind and get your goals straight and tell yourself, with time, I will come back home. And you and your spouse can come up with that time frame that it's time for us to come back and stay with our kids. Like Mr. Buri said, what will it profit you to gain the money, to gain everything and lose your kids? So Mr. Buri, we have talked a lot about the effects this distant parenting has on children. We have talked about in relation to children. Don't you think it has an impact on the parents also in their relationship? What can you say about that?
Yeah, I like that. I must say that children grow well when they see their mom and their dad at the same time, especially how you guys relate. It communicates very well to the kids. Somebody said the best way to love your children is to love your spouse. And you can't love online. I mean, the kids can see love online. And then secondly, you need each other. This is very important. It's medically proven. And we are humans. Once you're out there for long, some kind of thoughts. Of course, you see other women, you see other men, and there's some things that your thoughts start entertaining that you didn't plan for. So I think that ideally, let the couples be together. I don't encourage, I stand against it. Anybody to say, okay, let my wife be here only, and South Africa or whatever. As much as possible, let's try to bridge this gap for our sake. Because from a medical point of view, being together, you pray together, you study together, you read the Bible together, you play together. When having sex together, it is also, it's medically advanced. When you stay for too long without praying together, without doing these things together, your marriage is dropping. It's dropping.
And that affects the children negatively.
It affects the children negatively. Yeah, and then, you find, for example, your son or your daughter, she's growing up, but she's learning how to stay without the partner.
Without the partner.
At that age. And she says, my dad is a reference. My mom is a reference. They're not together. So you see what kids are learning?
Yeah.
So you can imagine the next generation. So I think it's something that we need to really consider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and see you some other time on Shansia's Haven. Never forget to leave it better than you met it. Bye-bye.